Welcome everyone to Madison Square Garden, or as they like to call it, the new garden. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent building this program, and it took 3 years. SMU of Minnesota have been a construction project as well. Consider those projects complete as they each reach the championship game of the NIT. Welcome everyone. John Saunders alongside of Fran Fraschilla and our very own Hall of Famer, Coach Bob Knight. And Coach, you know this better than anyone. There's only 2 teams at the end of the season walk off with a victory. One will be crowned next Monday in Dallas, and one will be crowned right here tonight. It means a lot.
Well, it means an awful lot. This is one of the great tournaments in all of college sports. And not only will it mean a lot to the 2 teams playing tonight, but each team that's played in the NIT, as well as all of those that have played in the NCAA, get a little bit of a start on next season because they had those opportunities.
And as Coach looks ahead, I'll look back. This tournament's been going on since 1937. You think of the great players like George Mikan, Tom Gola, even Pete Maravich, who this gentleman to my right, his Army team slowed down and beat one year. But some of these kids behind us making their own history, John.
Exactly. You get a chance to see some of the best players still playing college basketball as we go one-on-one.
Well, this game's going to have 2 very good little guards. Let's start with Nick Moore for SMU. He's really been a great catalyst for Larry Brown's team. He can score, and his playmaking's getting better and better. And DeAndre Matthews for the Golden Gophers. A quick water bug, gets to the lane, makes his teammates better. This will be a fun matchup.
As we take a look at the starting lineups, we've talked about the guards. The big guys are going to be extremely important here, including Mo Walker.
Mo Walker's a guy that lost 60 pounds since Richard Pitino became the head coach. They need a big game out of him tonight because SMU has a very athletic front line. And keep your eye, John, on a guy we've seen this year, Marcus Kennedy, who in his own right has lost 50 pounds since transferring from Villanova. He had a terrific game the other night in their win over Clemson.
Yeah, a chance to see some speedy big men. Keep your eye on Marcus Kennedy because when he gets the ball in the post, he goes immediately to the bucket. Both #1 seeds, yet Minnesota gets to wear the home white.
Always like to see what coaches run first possession of the game.
There's Matthew you talked about, Andre Hollins. First possession, the shot clock goes below 10. At 5 right now, into the corner to Andre Hollins, and the miss.
Did you like to see that as the first shot?
No, contested shot in the corner, but I like the defense.
The defense did a great job taking away scoring opportunities. Just wanted to check on what your thoughts on the opening shot were.
I liked it if I was playing defense, for sure.
Oh, great pass down to Kennedy. He leans in. Contact there. And a follow by Sean Williams.
Now, to me, that's a pretty big point to start the game offensively. SMU, they got 2 really good opportunities to score there and did score on the second one.
I like what they do, Coach. They ball screen, and the big guys do a good job of rolling to the lane.
Austin Hollins is in all kinds of trouble. Gets it back and knocks down the jumper.
Austin Hollins is having a very, very good NIT. This is his final game in a Golden Gopher uniform. 4 years, really good player. Of course, he's the son of Lionel Hollins.
Great NBA player, Portland Trail Blazers. Kennedy, the block again, turns, left hand.
Well, he has that little hesitation where he moves and the defense is with him, and then he stops, and the defense stops, and he just goes right up with that either hand, and it was a lefty that time, but that little pause is a heck of a move going to the bucket inside.
Is it tough to teach big guys to do that? Have that hesitation?
Not many. There are a lot of guys that'll just go with it, John, and the defense is right with them, but that little hesitation is a great precursor to a bucket. I like that word, precursor.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You got to look at who you're working with, though. Make sure we understand.
No. There's a professor at Ohio State that would have been proud of me for using that word.
Kennedy now.
Nice.
Oh, tried for the pass underneath.
Needed to go up with it there. The thing was too tight. Broad shoulders, go up with it. If they block it, they block it, but chances are you're going to shoot free throws.
There's that first move. What we liked about Kennedy the other night, Coach, as you mentioned, he goes both shoulders, and he's, I think when you hesitate like that, it's almost trying to hit him, like hitting a knuckleball.
Yeah, no question. You're so tight when the shot comes, but now him going both directions really doubles the problem that the defense has.
Miscommunications there. The pass was intended for Nick Moore. There's Larry Brown, coach, who you've known for half a century about it.
Maybe a little more. I have great respect for Larry. I liked him as a player, liked him as a coach, and I've always really liked him as a friend.
Good man coaching that team. Boston Hollins into the paint.
Great second defense right there. Really good second defense. Kept a bucket from happening.
Shot clock at 7. Andre Hollins. Deep shot is good for 3.
I'm not sure the SMU defender thought Hollins was going to shoot from that far out. I would have made him a driver if I would have known he was going to shoot it.
Well, I think so. Not only that, but really get into it. You know the clock's running out, and when that pass comes, that's a great time for the defensive man just to get up into him. As tight as you can.
Collision underneath.
I had a friend that once said somewhere that might have been called a foul.
Or that one, too. A little reach in. Andre Hollins finds himself free. Shot a little too deep.
You know, at the shoot-around today, Minnesota was working on their offense so much. Richard Pitino's dad, Rick, said, hey, Richard, are you going to work on any defense?
Off to a pretty good start. Some collisions underneath. A one-point game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Anchorman 2. Own Anchorman 2 supersized version today on Blu-ray Combo Pack. Rated PG-13 and R. The Snap Spreader System from Scott's. Feed your lawn. Feed it. And Gildan. It's about time you had a favorite brand of underwear.
You can get here to Manhattan from the other 4 boroughs. Just hop on a subway or Staten Island. You can take the ferry across too. But you're right here at Madison Square Garden, which takes us inside the flat.
Well, this SMU defense has been terrific all year. And Coach Knight, you pointed out the secondary defender. Freeze it right there.
Right there he is. We've seen the second defender come over, and if he doesn't come over where Fran's drawing the line, he gets all the way inside, and the postman's going to have a dunk shot. Here, the defender gets to the baseline quicker than the offensive man does, and that baseline becomes a great defender.
Well, this is an SMU team that really plays well together defensively, John. All 5 are connected like a fist.
Well, they know what's happening, too. They recognize things with the defense, like the drive, the reverse, and they're very alert to what they've got to do, as you said, Fran. Good double up there.
Walker took steps and was trying to establish himself, but Kennedy wouldn't back off.
That's that second defense that came in and took away the opportunity to score. People just don't realize how important that is.
Well, pass in the follow down there by Sean Williams.
I thought they had a good game plan versus that pressure. They got it right to the middle.
Matthews swings it out to Andre Hollins. King, little ball fake. Swung around finally to Austin Hollins. Three-pointer good.
You know, I thought the defense was pretty good up until that shot, Coach.
I'll tell you what they're doing, though, Minnesota, Fran. They are really zipping the ball from one guy to another. They are really moving it around the court. And they were fast enough there that they end up with an open three in reverse.
Oh, my goodness. Nick Moore, first of all, the pass to him was pretty good.
Yes.
And then somehow he got that up.
That came off a great backdoor cut. Minnesota tried to pressure Moore, and he just read it, went the other way.
Walker again.
Boy, there's where Walker, if he spins the other way, fake right, go left, he's going to draw a foul immediately.
Matthew.
Pushed off. Yeah, he got it.
Yep, he got it. Well, you know, it's like judo. If you use someone's pressure against them, watch Moore get overplayed right there. Matthew's too high, and then Moore makes the circus shot, all set up by a nice pass by Marcus Kennedy. And John, in the NIT, we've seen Marcus Kennedy really do a good job of facilitating the offense.
Yeah, they're able to run a lot of offense through him. Plus, he can also score by himself. SMU's got all 8 of their points in the paint thus far. Kennedy lost the handle.
Yeah, good hands by Dre Hollins.
Too crowded to drive there.
Matthew going to the bucket. And Nick Moore picks up the foul.
That's the first real mistake that SMU has made on their offense. They just didn't have any place to go and really didn't look for any. They just were in a hurry on that last possession.
Oh, this is the first time, John, we've seen him. Yeah, he's coming off an ankle sprain. He's from western Nebraska. He loves to hunt, Coach. You think you'll get along great with him.
Got to be a good kid, then.
King with the miss. And Russell with a quick push. A little careless with the ball. Sterling Brown. And Elias with a rebound.
Right there was shot fake and a wide open shot where somebody comes. Boy, I'm telling you, the shot fake, I go nuts because I don't see kids with that shot fake. It opens up 3 different places, 3 different things where you can shoot if you use the shot fake.
King. This little fake won't go, and Matthew backs it out. King from deep. And it's good for a 3.
That was a really good screen by Elias and away from the ball. The SMU defenders were caught inside.
They're really slow coming back out on it, too.
Yes.
They've got to get out quicker on that kid. Kid's got really nice release.
Russell puts it on the floor to his right. Draws a double team.
They're going through on the guards. They're not really looking to switch.
Russell, three-pointer, answers right back.
Really good penetration, Coach, into the lane by Moore.
And you know, it all started over here where 2 defenders picked up the ball and somebody was open because of that. They did a really good job bringing 2 guys to the ball on the reverse.
Plenty of intensity in this game. You better believe these teams probably started the NIT a little, you know, do we really want to play? A lot of teams have those attitudes.
It's always
the start.
Absolutely.
That amounted to simply a dribble. That wasn't a movement to get anywhere, and in that happening, they lost it and lost a really good chance to score. There's a nice reverse.
Yep, that dribble penetration you talked about drew that second defender. You know what I like about these kids in the NIT this week? Those shot preparation.
Oh, yeah, they're ready. And, you know, they haven't really shot it under pressure. If they've got pressure, they make a little fake, they give it up, they go somewhere else. These kids in both the games, all 3 games now that we've seen, do a good job in knowing when they've got the shot and when they don't.
Cunningham. Kennedy drives and gets bumped by Eliason.
Footwork. You cannot play defense with your hands. You've got to play with your feet. And there was no footwork there.
Well, Richard Pitino trying to establish himself as a head coach. This his second year and first year at Minnesota. And there's Dad, who's in the Hall of Fame, won a national championship a year ago at Louisville, of course, has one at Kentucky. That's Peyton Siva next to him.
Absolutely. Talk about terrific point guards. Led them to the national title a year ago. There's a granddaughter, Ava, Richard Pitino's daughter on the left. And I can remember back in, I think it was 1978 when Rick Pitino took over. I had a friend who was his point guard on that team, and he still has great stories about that first year. Kind of like your first couple of years at West Point, Coach. I bet they have some good stories.
They got good stories from every year.
I met those West Point guys. They still call you Coach.
Well, they were a great group of kids. I was really lucky through all the time that I coached because I had an endless array of really good kids who could play the game pretty well.
Was it tougher for you when your son became the head coach? You know, to watch, because Rick Pitino talks about it. It's difficult. Great jump shot by Nick Moore.
I think it's always difficult, John. You know, you're rooting so hard that you sometimes overlook what's going on out there.
Both teams have come out and not been shy. Very aggressive with their shooting. And on the mark a lot. Andre Hollins drives to the baseline.
Well, I love when both teams are playing hard, trying to play good defense, and then there's good offensive execution as well.
SMU's doing a nice job recovering in the lane. Shot clock is at 4.
Wow.
Oh, Schnicks.
That's a great back cut right there.
Well, not only great back cut, but great hand.
Yeah.
And he went up, and with the left hand coming under.
Moore again. Sweet looking jump.
You know, Larry Brown said early in the year he didn't know if he could make this kid a point guard because he was so offensive minded, and I think Nick Moore has found a great balance of running his team and still being able to create his own shot.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the point guard taking the shot if he recognizes that it is a good shot, and that kid does a great job of recognition.
Austin Hollins draws a crowd, backs it out to Smith. Shot clock at 7. Andre Hollins goes in, looks too strong. They didn't hit anything, so shot clock at 1. Jump shot for 3 is good.
Well, Malik Smith, he transferred to Minnesota from Florida International with Richard Pitino, and he has really had some big nights behind the arc this year.
Malik Smith had a night this year where he had 8 3-pointers. How about the shooting here? Sean Williams down.
Really a nice cut away with the ball, reverse it back where you came from, wide open.
One of those rare times you like the ball screen.
Oh, yeah. Well, but he reversed the pass. So
yes.
He got it going. He didn't pass in the direction he was going. He passed where he came from, and that had a wide open shot to it.
Austin Hollins, 3.
You know, John, this is enjoyable because I do think both teams are trying to play good defense, and yet the offensive execution is, and the ball movement has been very good.
Nick Russell gets fouled as he releases, hits the deck, and knocks that one in. SMU started 8 of 12 from the field. Don't forget, the field has been set. Thursday, April 10th. National semifinals in the Frozen Four, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. Watch ESPN. Follow every championship at NCAA.com. Official online home for all 89 NCAA championships.
With these 2 free throws on the line, you know, they're a result of bad defense.
Speaking of Minnesota, we know they're having success this year in basketball, but most of their success has come on the ice.
Well, and, they're the #1 overall seed. Don Lucia's club has had a really good year, and but you know they haven't won a title, I think, since '02. Right?
It's been some time.
Some time up there in Minneapolis. I know you'll like this, Dad, Coach. 7 assists, 7 field goals for Minnesota.
Matthew and Walker now.
Minnesota's had really good patience. They've taken that clock a long ways. A little bit more patient, I think, on the offense than SMU has been.
Walker a little careless with it. And Ryan Manuel will get to the line with a little creative shot.
Ryan Manuel's been a very, very good role player this year for Larry Brown. He's basically done whatever the coach needs on both ends of the floor.
But, you know, he's a little out of control with the ball there.
On that one, yep.
And you've got to recognize that as a defensive player. He's not really going anywhere. He's going full tilt toward the baseline. And don't get your hands in where he ends up getting a chance at 2 points from the foul line.
What do you think about the mouthpiece sticking out as he's shooting free
I never
throws?
minded that if he made 90% of his free throws.
Well, I didn't see many people doing this though. Orlando's 66%.
Yeah,
free
exactly.
throw
So
shooter.
I don't know. I might put it back in my mouth then if it's 66%. By the way, his sister, we mentioned, Simone, a swimmer, just broke the American record in a 100-meter freestyle last Saturday, and she'll attend Stanford next year. Good for the Manuel family. I like his defense, coach. Watch his stance.
He's got great wingspan, too.
Yep.
Good footwork, good wingspan.
Oh, they come quickly with the double team. Smith.
Minnesota did a good job working their way out of that. Good help, very good help, good pressure on the shooter.
And Matthew, they play off him just a little bit, so he launches a three-pointer that's short. Now Nick Moore. Creative little floater down there by Ben Moore. Right back at it is Matthew. Ooh, Smith. Deep three-pointer. Off the mark, but a long rebound.
We used to chart on defense contested shots allowed, and that one there was contested. That one didn't need to be taken.
A lot of pressure. Good shot fake and drive right there. Get that guy coming at you. Let him really come at you with that little shot fake.
Cunningham with a grab to stop Mo Walker from getting an easy deuce. Boy, this is a left and a right. Punch to the chest, one to the chin, back and forth, three-pointers. Anything you can do, I got it as well. 1 point game. Final four last year. From three, how about Brady Hisler?
Hey.
That's who I'm counting on.
Let me tell you something. Adrian Payne for Michigan State is in the dunk contest. He could be in a three-point shooting contest.
That's right.
The way he shot the three this year for Tom Izzo. Luke Hancock as well, played for Rick Pitino at Louisville. He played alongside the guy on the right, Peyton Siva.
They played with the Pistons this year.
Now, I mentioned earlier, Coach, you guys beat LSU in the NIT, I believe, right? When Pete Maravich was...
Pete's dad wouldn't let him play against him.
Oh, that's right. He didn't play that game.
He had had several turnovers in the first two games, and
That's right.
we had a kid named Doug Clevenger who would have been very, very hard for Pete to play against, and Press kept him out of the game, the final game, and we ended up beating them in that game. We had a kid named Mike Gopher, who's the toughest kid I've ever coached, and he played against three big guys inside and just pounded them to death over 40 minutes.
Mike Gopher, the same gentleman who
Was up at
pretty
man.
much challenged an entire section of
Syracuse kids, yeah. One on 3,000, John.
A one-man army. It makes sense. He played at West Point. That's right.
1 on 3,000. The toughest kid I ever saw, Mike Gopher.
Easy to say that about the Texas Rangers, Coach. One riot, one Ranger.
Sometimes Mike created the riot as well. Oh, what a great kid.
Kennedy. Strong, but it spins out. Oh, gets it right back. Somehow gets it on the iron. Great job to keep that ball alive by Ben Moore.
Good ball movement, too. You know, Ben Moore could have shot that ball. Instead, he got it right back.
What a smart play.
Yeah.
What a smart play Ben Moore made. He gave it a little look, though, and then was smart enough to get rid of it.
He's a freshman. I bet early in the year he probably did shoot it.
I bet next time he might, too.
Timeout on the floor. Richard Pitino is asking questions. Welcome back. Freshman making good decisions, Coach, and for Ben Moore, this is one of them.
We're going to see a little move here in just a moment. Ball rolls off, rebounded, going to get it back across the inside again, dismisses it. Now we get the ball, little fake, no shot, and he recognizes it. That's a smart player right there. Now, right there could have been a little shot fake, shot here, kind of
just good effort.
Not the best reaction with the shot.
Yeah, this is a good young player. Really wasn't heavily recruited until before his senior year. I'm always partial to those guys that are not high on the list that become really good players.
Oh, there are a lot of them, too.
Yeah.
You're right about it, because, and they work awfully hard to show that they are pretty good. What a nice pass.
And Walker tries for the finish and gets fouled. Coach, you know, as we're on the subject of getting great players and such, we watched Matthew with the pass. How important is it, or how easy is it, to get a player who's not one of the 5 stars and then develop him over the 4 years?
Well, you know, what happens, John, is when you've got kids that play a lot, they're more shot-oriented than anything else. And to take a kid that's used to, I'm sure that in high school he's a very good scorer, but to take a kid that can see when somebody else is open and has a better shot than I do, that's a key in coaching. You know, because not everybody that comes to school is going to shoot the same number of shots as everybody else. We got to have a couple of passes.
I heard a coach at a clinic once say, offense is not equal opportunity. I paid, remember I told you, I paid $35 for that clinic.
That was a smart coach. Who was that guy?
He coached at Indiana a while ago, won a couple of championships.
Yeah, equal opportunity was never the way he spread shots around.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you that.
Whatever that coach is doing.
But it's working, and it's working at SMU, and it's obviously working tonight for Minnesota too, because they're getting the right guys the most shots most of the time.
You know, you made a comment earlier, Fran, and these kids have not let up on shooting. Now, they got a good shot off the screen there, but boy, they have not let up with how hard they're playing defensively and the work they're putting into getting the shot.
Andre Hollins' shot there is the 9th lead change that we've had in a contest that is barely 15 minutes old. Kennedy, oh, great pass to Ben Moore.
But what a great pass. But secondary defense really came into play, and the ball was thrown between 2 guys. Great pass.
Austin Hollins from the baseline as the teams remain hot.
I really like the flow.
Kennedy. Offensive foul. Send it the other way.
That would have been a place for a great jump stop and maybe a fake and step through.
Because he had size on the defender.
Yes.
But, you know, you got to hand it to the defender because he held his own right there. He didn't slide. He didn't move where the foul could have gone to him. He stepped right in line of the move toward the bucket and saved his team a basket.
And it surprised me because we've seen Marcus Kennedy be pretty fundamentally sound in the place.
Walker took a couple of steps there. Walker was well named with that possession.
Well, he's been upset with Andre Hollins a couple of times about where he's giving him the basketball. Do you know what he's upset about?
No, well, when you dribble handoff like that, that guy's got to move quickly to the big guy. Otherwise, you see big guys commit offensive fouls sometimes when it's not their fault, like on a screen.
Yeah.
Kennedy's second foul, so he heads to the bench. Cunningham, boy, very, very strong there. Different type of player. Hollins dishes it off to Walker. Slips out of Walker's hands again. Trying for the quick break. Nothing there. Back the other way, and Andre Hollins lays it up.
Okay, we have a good matchup between the two small guards as DeAndre.
Yeah, you got more than a matchup, I think.
Yeah, got caught up in it a little bit, but they've been very exciting and dynamic for their team. Watch DeAndre Matthew now. He's going to hustle, keep his head up, and then find Hollins down the floor.
Two of them got tied up, too, coming back down the floor.
Well, they're both feisty guys.
SMU down by 4, which is the biggest lead we had in this game.
You know, we're talking about playing for the NIT Championship. You couldn't find two teams playing any harder.
Yep.
Playing any harder to win that championship than these two are here tonight. This is about as much aggressive play as you're going to see put into any game by any team. These kids are really going at it.
I agree with you 100%.
And they were both focused today as a shoot-around. Both coaches had good game plans.
Russell.
You know how well I like that. Set up off the down screen, come off of it, catch it, shoot it.
Did you like that little misdirection?
Liked it. That was really, really good offensive play.
We're in the film room right now. You'd be praising that ball, that down screen, wouldn't you?
Oh! King pops a shot.
We make sure we say something to the screener. Pat him on the fanny for what a great job he did setting up the shot, so he'll screen somebody else before the game's over with.
Russell again, and Pink Cunningham grabs the rebound. They reset.
Cunningham, John, throughout this tournament, that's another offensive rebound. That might have been a moving screen. But...
Whoa. Twice all the way to Frazier. Cunningham with Eliason on him. Trying to find someone to send it back out to. That one rattles out for more.
Boy, these kids are playing hard.
Both teams really executing. I agree, Coach. Take a look now. Defense doesn't come. Nobody helping on the backside, but a good find by Marcus Kennedy.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. Well, Doug McDermott, incredible year, an incredible career. These are some of the storylines. Billy Donovan and his Florida Gators on a 29-game streak. Got a couple school records going on here. When you think about Doug McDermott, guys, there is not going to be another 3,000-point scorer. Because anybody who can score at that clip is not going to stay 4 years. He only stayed 4 years because of his dad.
Yeah, and I got to ask you, Coach, he would have been wonderful in motion offense.
Oh, as a screener and as a shooter. John, that's a great point, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but that is a point that we have to live with.
We're going to have a lot of 950-point scores or 1,000-point scores.
But you told us the other night that one of the best screeners you ever had was Scott May, who was a great scorer. So how does that equate to, say, Doug McDermott getting his own offense by being a great screener?
Well, I think it's the same thing. You know, he was taught to screen, step back, slip, and then he could get in once he'd gone away from the screen, post inside. He was good going both directions. He was just a really good offensive player. And, you know, the thing, too, was he was a very unselfish offensive player.
That's what I love about McDermott, John, his ability to post inside, too, besides just being a great shooter.
Exactly. He's going to take whoever's guarding him down low or away from the bucket. Russell tried to hand it off underneath. It's stolen by Dre Hollins. That's a pretty creative shot. A little two-hand scoop it up.
And I love the defense. You know, Minnesota, Coach mentioned it earlier, their defense has been outstanding as well. I think they're playing with more poise right now.
There's really good help from the defense on the screener, but they didn't get the kind of defense coming back on the reverse that they should have had. The offside defense went to sleep there, and the offside defense, as you well know, has always got to be ready to come out when the ball is reversed. You can't stand back and watch.
Sean Williams dropped that shot in. Hollins. Austin Hollins that time, no good, and chance to tie this game for SMU with a 3. McMoore, lob inside. Eric Marrera was...
When he gets doubled like that, that's when the teammate has to come help. But here.
Yep.
Let him know that he's out there. Let's get rid of it from the baseline, and then let's start it again. Right here, we're seeing it. Just get the ball back out. You got too much of a chance of losing it in there.
You know what I like that those Minnesota defenders did too? They just put their hands straight up.
Straight up. They're not going to foul. They're just going to put pressure on anything that goes over their head.
Smith thought about the 3, gave it to Andre Hollins. His shot no good. It comes to Moore. Quick push into the paint. Back outside to Russell.
Might have been a little bit of a travel through the lane there.
One thing we've learned about SMU, John, it doesn't really matter if they get down in the first half, right?
No, it doesn't. Get down in every game. Frazier's 3, no good.
I think they're going to be a little bit more careful now with the ball. They're going to try and get a good shot, but they're going to try and get it when they run off most of that clock.
Well, 7 seconds difference between game and shot clock, so SMU would get another look at it. See if there's a make.
Well, they just want to make sure that SMU can't get a good shot or even a good look here.
Austin Hollins, there's 4 on the shot clock. He drives, backs his man up. Difficult shot, no good. Walker gets it back. Out of bounds. Still belongs to Minnesota.
Now, Richard Pitino has already used the timeout, so do you have a play in your back pocket that you've worked on all season from that corner? Because they have a chance to get a good look here with a catch and shoot.
Yeah, the 1.7, you see Richard Pitino
he's
holding the play up.
The 12 play.
Or 21.
Could have been, yeah. I'm dyslexic. You Canadians, you count backwards.
Oh, goodness. It's got to be different than everything.
Now, the defensive man playing the ball wants to play a little bit on the high side of the ball. And then the defensive man on the post man drops back. Well, they didn't get it to him. They let him get that shot off.
Malik Smith with the shot. Off the mark, and so we've had quite a battle here in the first half. 7 ties, 9 lead changes. The biggest lead in the game is only 6 points. And the Hollins from Minnesota doing a lot of work. Scrappy game. Second half should be a good one, but right now, let's join Chris Cotter and Miles Simon for college basketball halftime report.
Thank you, John. 3-point game right now, Minnesota.
Don't kid with COVID. Preparedness is key, but overbuying cleaning and health supplies puts others at risk. Please don't buy more than you need. What you do today will affect your family and our community tomorrow.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From farms to breweries and orchards to markets, discover how the University of Minnesota is cultivating a new crop of Minnesota businesses.
Do you know what the U of M does for you? From hooves to hands and paws to possibilities, discover how the University of Minnesota is making medical advances for all Minnesotans.
Welcome back once again to Madison Square Garden. 30-27 is our halftime score, and if you were with us at the open of the night, this game has been as advertised. John Saunders, Fran Priscilla, and Coach Bob Knight, the Hall of Famer, of course. And this one has been a clinic, if you would. Both teams shot it extremely well in the first.
Yeah, and I love Minnesota's ball movement. 12 field goals, 9 assists, Coach.
Well, let's don't forget they played awfully hard at the defensive end. Both teams, they're not giving up shots easily.
And this is good recognition right here. The overplay by the defender, Sean Williams, and then a nice back cut. You like this finish on the other side with the left hand by Oceanix.
Cut to the bucket.
Yeah.
And both teams extremely unselfish. 7 ties, 9 lead changes.
You know, they just keep working to get a good shot. Both teams have. That's a really good point, Fran, because they both ends of the court, there's a lot of work to get a good shot.
As hard as they work, SMU shot 46%. Minnesota at 48%. Matthews to his right. King with a ball fake. Oh, trying to get it into the post.
That's what I like. I want a bounce pass into the post. I don't want the ball up in the air where there can be a deflection like there was there. You put a bounce pass in there that comes up knee high, then he can do a lot of things with it.
Into Kennedy, and Kennedy had his man sealed.
That's only his second field goal of the game. He's coming off a 21-point game against Clemson. So you can tell Coach Brown said, hey, let's try to feed the big guy.
Well, you hit that right on the head, Fran. That was a pass that the defense couldn't get to, as opposed to the pass down at the other end just prior to that.
Walker seems to be having problems with the ball in the post. Kennedy, a little bit of a circus pass.
Well, that had to be a foul on the defense.
Some places they'd have called that a foul.
Yeah.
Oh, dump down to Kennedy with the finish.
Well, we saw this the other night. What does a coach tell his team in the locker room so that they come out with a little bit of fire the first couple minutes?
Well, whatever it was said, it's working. And then at this end, of course, this has not been a problem throughout this game. King thinks about the 3. Austin Hollins gets bumped. Andre Hollins, 3 off the mark. Out of there by Sean Williams.
That's a 3 that SMU would not mind them taking.
Lob into Kennedy again. So the MO.
Well, this is a great pass over the top of the defense. Catch and lay it in. I used to like to teach my guys to throw it to the corner of the board, Coach. So you just right there by the basket.
Well, by putting it there, also, you're putting it away from the defense. If he's done a decent job of sealing, then he's somewhere in the lane while you're the guy that's going to receive the pass has got nobody but cheerleaders in front of him.
This could be good on occasion, but not during the game. Sterling Brown.
See, there was a shot fake. Great situation. He shot it under pressure. Boy, I hate that. I hate that shot without the shot fake.
Oh, Matthew with a jump stop and drops it.
Some of their best offense tonight has come when Matthew has gotten into the paint. That time he created for himself.
Moore calms things down a little bit. Kennedy into the paint, outside to Nick Moore. Jump shot is good, and it's a 3-pointer.
Really slow getting out on him because he had plenty of time to get set. He did a great job of sticking that right foot toward the bucket to get balanced to go up for the shot.
And I like that pass by Kennedy again. He's done a good job with his recognition.
Andre Hollins, nice move. Backed his man up and then jumped back himself. Nick Moore pulls the string. He waits for the screen. Oh, nice screen and roll. Perfect. Sean Williams, the senior.
Boy, King was a spectator there. That pass came and he just watched the pass. Watch this right here. He's got to move where the ball is going to be thrown. He's got to move with the ball.
And if you are going to ball screen, you like that offensive player heading right to the basket.
Something was said to him at the bench right there.
At the bench, which is where he's going to spend the next few minutes.
So take advantage of those free throws.
Oceanix or rather Eliason.
I think SMU's more aggressive on the defensive end than they were in the first half.
Just saying something. Andre Hollins. Yeah, they're getting out on the shooters extremely quickly. There's a double team. Matthew just has to chase it down. Hustle. Shot clock's at 1. They're not going to get a shot off.
You know what I loved about that, Coach? The offensive players did ball fake that time. And when they did get into the lane, those secondary defenders came and helped.
And took the shot away from them. Absolutely. Yep. You know, we've talked for 2 nights about the secondary defender. And actually, I think if you break basketball down into different thoughts, the #1 thought is secondary defender.
Minnesota had 6 possessions in this half. And they've turned it over 3 times.
First time tonight I remember seeing this 2-3 zone.
Kennedy back out to Moore.
Kennedy should have gone to the bucket there. He had a lot of room for that little right-hand baby hook in there rather than throw it out of there. He had to be aggressive inside.
Kennedy picks up the loose ball. Oceanics got back on him. And that'll belong to SMU. But Minnesota having problems with turnovers early in this half. Rick Pitino, who tonight is Richard Pitino's father, as he sits in the stands, and he's next to one of his former players, Peyton Siva, now in the NBA, and they teamed up for a national championship. The guy who had a lot to do with that was Luke Hancock, who couldn't be stopped last year in the Final Four.
Yep, he was the most outstanding player of that Final Four.
And tonight he'll be in the State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-point shooting contest.
The last time we were in that building, John, we
that's where SMU plays.
Yeah, we got a chance to see George W.
That's right.
Jason Garrett, Tony Romo. Yeah, he really was a tremendous point guard. What I loved about him is he improved every year. You know, he was a little wild and out of control early in his career and developed nicely into a great floor general.
That's what we talk about. Developing players who may not have been the stars in high school. Kennedy sends it out to Nick Moore. 3-pointer is short. Ooh, body's crashing. And there's a little reach-in foul. And a loose ball.
Kennedy does love to pass the ball. What happened when you had a guy that overpassed, did you?
You know, I think you got to say, hey, if you're just going to throw it to somebody, they're in a sense are getting the ball to you inside, because when he's thrown it out, he's taken away the opportunity to draw a foul.
Yes.
And getting that foul is so important in so many different ways. And I'd never liked the postman to just get it and throw it back out. Let's make a little move and then throw it back out if you can't get a shot.
Andre Hollins' shot just won't go, and then Eliason gets blocked. Russell ahead of everyone, and he gets fouled.
Well, Eliason had a chance to score inside, but SMU relentless on the glass. And then really good recognition. Look up the floor, good eyesight there, and Russell had a chance to finish that.
That's where down at the other end, you need to try and step out just a step and give yourself a little room for a little hook shot down there rather than try and fight up through 2 defenders. And also, if you step out, you break that gap a little bit, you've got somebody to throw it to.
You know, during the season, Coach, I'd see big guys foul defensively on that play, but both of these teams are well coached around the basket. And they go straight to the ceiling.
They do a really good job, but like to see.
No, it's just 4 points.
Well, not like to see, though, the guy, when you get it in the post, you at least got to make a try for the shot. And then you don't have it, get it out of there, but don't just catch it and throw it out.
Everybody backed up, so Matthews says, hey, I'm open, let me hit this jumper.
This guy didn't have a scholarship coming out of high school. He walked on at Morehead State. He thought he'd earned a scholarship.
Yeah, he did.
And when he didn't, he went to junior college, and now he's in the Big Ten.
That's good. That's what we're talking about. He didn't make it, but he went up at it. He had a chance to draw the foul and had a chance to make the bucket. Got to make those little hookers in there.
I used to tell my guys who I wanted to get the ball to, you're hurting us if you don't shoot that ball.
Absolutely. You know, what do we have you out there for?
Matthew. We have both ball handlers in the game.
And then every once in a while, I tell the kid, we got you out there to screen and pass.
Don't you dare shoot. Oh, a floater by Matthew.
Boy, I like this guy. I like both of those point guards, Moore and Matthew. Next time they play, we'll make them the one-on-one.
Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Oh, no. Oh, Ben Moore tried to force that bounce pass in. Kennedy picks up the loose change and drops it down.
That was good defense that went to naught because nobody hustled after the play, except Kennedy.
Mo Walker comes out deep to pick that one up. Hands it back off Andre Hollins. Opening was quick and shut off. Austin Hollins shot off the mark.
There had to be a shot fake there. There just wasn't any room to go straight up and shoot it. That's like a turnover. What a bad pass. Soft, easy pass.
Come back the other end and try and make up for that mistake, but that ball's going to belong to Minnesota. The race to the playoff heats up Friday on ESPN. First at 7, the Nuggets take on the Grizzlies. Then at 9:30, Kevin Durant and the Thunder battle James Harden and the Rockets, his former teammate. NBA Friday presented by State Farm. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. There's a former player of Coach Bob Knight's, Mike Woodson.
Great player, great person.
Talked about Mike Woodson going to break to play for you coach tonight. You mentioned that he's a great player, and he's done a good job. Got to the Knicks to the playoffs last year and has him in the 8th spot now.
He's done a really good job as a coach and an excellent job as a player, both as a professional player and as a college player. And you know, John, on top of all that, he was a very good student. Never a problem with getting Mike to go to class.
That's great. And Coach Gary Dunn to his right.
Former coach at Penn State.
This might be an issue as Nick Russell does not take the floor here. He's still stretching things out. So that would be a huge problem for Larry Brown if he can't come back.
Larry Brown's got 2 freshmen on the floor, 2 guys that have really developed over the course of the season.
There's Matthew just lights it up.
That's driving you nuts, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Not taking a shot fake on that and clearing the defense out drives me nuts. I might have wasted a timeout on that one.
And as a defensive guy, I love that. Just stick your hand up and contest. Yeah.
You know, he can't see as well as possible.
Backdoor lob.
Ryan Manuel saw that one coming from Nick Moore. That's good recognition right there. And you know what I like about it? It came out of a timeout, too, so you know it was set up.
Well, they got the SMU fans off their feet with that one.
Good help by Kennedy.
Walker. Everything's on the outside right now. Shot clock is at 6. Andre Hollins short. Ben Moore, though, tapped it right back to him, but shot clock violation.
You like this, John? How about this, Coach? This was easy to coach back in your day.
Great timing.
The the SMU Mustangs with a 4-point lead, matching their largest lead of the game. As we approach the midway point of the second half, let's go inside the play.
Well, watch this now. Go ahead and run in a couple of right there. You got a ball you man triangle right here. The defender's inside the offensive player, but coach, watch how Hollins gets out of position.
Well, he just goes to sleep here. There's the back cut right there. He has no idea where the man he's guarding is. That's just a very sloppy play on his part. Then the second thing that happens is most defensive player isn't awake either, and so they get a cheap bucket because two defensive guys go to sleep. And there's just no way that you can do anything with defensive people that aren't just aware of the man and the ball. You got to know where the ball is. You got to know where the man is.
Oh boy, that's going to drive Larry Brown crazy. Out of a break, you get a quick turnover. Smith. Deep.
That's going to drop.
It goes.
Yep. That ball had so much arc on it that it kissed softly off the rim.
It hit very softly, but I'm thinking if I was sitting on the bench, I'm not so sure I would have condoned that shot.
You go and block it yourself.
Lob play.
They get it into Kennedy. To Ben Moore. And he's trying to lob it back the other side. And Moore goes up. Nice job by Minnesota to come out with the block. Matthews' shot is good.
Well, that was a great stop and shot by Matthews. He was going full tilt, and you talk about stopping on a dime. He did, but he took that split second to collect himself. He had his head in front of his feet, and that was an awfully soft shot for going so hard.
Yeah, they smelled this out. There's a screen across in the top of the key here. They're looking lob, but give Minnesota credit. They did a good job on the scouting report. And then this Matthew, coach, has really been a catalyst in the second half with his quickness.
Yes, he has been.
I don't remember it, particularly at Indiana, that you had a lot of small point guards like that, did you?
Not really.
Yeah.
Another lob to Ben Moore. That's 3 trips with lobs on.
Yeah.
Great defense being played by Sterling Brown out there. And a travel turns it over.
They really had no room to go there.
Yeah. You know what I loved about that, John? You pointed it out. Sterling Brown really moved his feet, and then look at him put his hands up. Now, he did get split, but you had to love that second guy coming in.
Yeah.
Little pressure here by Minnesota. 2-2-1. They usually go back to the zone here.
They're in it.
Yep.
This has been something that they've been able to score against. Nick Moore's shot, though, not good.
Really good block out at the other end.
Oh, tremendous drive by Austin Hollins.
Boy, King had a great block out down there. It almost, had he not, there was going to be a bucket scored on the rebound, and he got the whole thing started. Block out, grab it. We're going to see it right here. Block out, grab it, get rid of it, get it down the floor, look to pass it. Good baseline drive, great body control.
Saw a quick shot of his dad. It's like, I couldn't do it any better.
We saw him the other night after the game, John. He was excited about Austin's performance. He should be. There's that zone again. Look at those hands. Ooh.
Russell, another lob.
You used to love that guy on the baseline behind the defense. And
well, you know, I always wanted 6 feet between the guy with the ball and the baseline, or the guy receiving the ball. So he had 2 options: fake baseline, go middle; fake middle, go baseline. And if you fake middle and go baseline, then the postman has to come and help, and your offensive postman slides into the middle of the lane, and it's a great drop-off pass. And I've never been able to quite understand why people set their offense up along the baseline, because you put the best defender in the game at a point where he can shut you out, and that's the baseline.
Can you guys see what is going on that SMU keeps going for these lobs?
Well, I think when you play zone, you got to be a head turner behind you. You got to locate where your offensive players are aligned.
Malik Smith, well off the mark.
Well, that's not a shot.
I think that's a wasted possession. Yep. Completely wasted.
That's that invisible turnover I talked about the other night.
Yep. And they've had 4 or 5 of those down. I'm surprised that Minnesota is right there even with some of their shot selection.
What great ball movement. Frazier gets fouled.
Now, who's that foul on? I don't think it was the guy that went up with him. I think it was...
Let's
Smith,
see.
I think.
Yeah, Marcus Kennedy still dropping those passes around the basket.
Did Malik Smith get hit with that foul? Yes, it is Malik Smith. '14 NCAA Men's Final Four begins on Saturday on TBS at 6. UConn takes on Florida. For more information, go to ncaa.com.
All right, Coach, it's Thursday before the Final Four, and your team is in it. You're already in Dallas. How much preparation are you doing the next 48 hours?
Well, you know, we've gone over things. We're going to talk about things. We're not going to work very hard. We're going to look at film. We're going to walk through stuff in the hotel somewhere. That's another thing that I always wanted, was to make sure there was a room in the hotel where we could set up our defense against the other team's offense. We didn't need a great ballroom, but we needed a room that would allow us to do that. There are little things like that that are really important. You got to have a place where you can set up their offense and walk through your defense. That's what we'd be talking about right now.
And John, once again, Cannon Cunningham with a really big hustle play.
He is huge for this SMU team. Doesn't play huge minutes, but every time he's on the floor, he does something. And how about Russell dropping it out on a deep shot?
I'm looking on the floor. Russell's a senior. So is Austin Hollins for Richard Pitino. These guys are playing their final college games.
Oh, and Matthew drove, and he threw that ball to a spot. Well,
Hollins had moved when he was on his drive, and he just threw it where Hollins was. We just can't afford to make a mistake like that now. You get down by 4, and you've got to try and get it back. Let's get it back to 2, and all of a sudden it might be 6 or 7.
The 7th turnover in this half in Minnesota. They turned it over 7 total in the first half.
You know, Matthew's going to come back next year, and that's something I would show him on film as a point guard. You must know where all 4 of your teammates are, especially when you're putting your head down and driving it.
Frazier is a deep threat. Russell, floater, comes to Cunningham on the other side, and he loses it.
SMU has been very, very sneaky, sneaking those big guys along the baseline. Good ball movement, the lob, that's an easy play.
Well, just about everybody thought Adrian Payne would be in North Dallas to play this weekend, but a lot of people, including the president, thought it would be playing for a national championship. He'll be in the State Farm slam dunk portion. The slam dunk and 3-point shooting contest. And Brad Nessler, Dan Dockage, and Jimmy Dykes, who we say goodbye to.
Yep.
His final event.
Jimmy Dykes is going to be the new women's coach at the University of Arkansas. He played at Arkansas for Eddie Sutton. He lives in Fayetteville, and he's been undefeated all these years as an ESPN analyst. Now we're going to find out if he stays undefeated.
I miss Jimmy's take on the games, but we wish him the best.
Absolutely. Nobody works harder.
King puts it on his hip and drives and gets fouled by Sean Williams.
Guy starts that drive. The defensive man can't move in to try and force him back. He's got to maybe take half a step backward and in the direction that right there. He can't step in. He's got to get ahead of it. But that being said, there has to be a second defensive man that takes a step, takes a shot at him with his hand to keep him from getting in the middle.
I think Larry Brown thought that was pretty good defense, too. He's letting the official know it.
Well, but you know, they didn't help out. You know,
Yeah.
King started his career at Drake.
He transferred this summer, was immediately eligible. There's a little bit of full court pressure now. Now usually when they've used this, they've slid back to that 2-3 zone.
they're in it right now.
Yep. Now, if you're Minnesota, you better watch the lob because we've seen it a number of times. But they do a good job of getting into the middle of the zone as well.
So they're
There it is.
Cunningham turns, gets it on the iron, but it won't fall.
You've got to have that guy flashing in the middle, just like Cunningham did against the 2-3 zone.
King's three is short.
I wonder how many times that Minnesota in the last 10 minutes has thrown up a three with no chance of drawing the foul. I'll bet it's 7 or 8 times. And I just don't think you can play down to the wire and get anything going like that.
Larry Brown called the timeout. We should remind everybody, Sunday at 6 Eastern, Wyndham's Final Four pregame show presented by Capital One, followed by the NCAA Women's Championship semifinals on ESPN and watch ESPN. Follow every championship at NCAA.com as well.
Well, 4 really good teams. Of course, UConn and Notre Dame still undefeated, although Notre Dame will play without Natalie Achanwa, who suffered a knee injury this past weekend. Has had a great career so far from Muffet McGraw. Stanford. Tara Vanderveer. Yeah, exactly. The last, the last team to go undefeated on the men's side.
Yep.
1976.
Coach of that team is someone I actually know.
You know, Minnesota has not gotten out of his half-court offense here in the last 10 minutes what it should get. I've been surprised at the number of threes they've taken or the number of shots under pressure they've taken.
Quick hands down there. Moore does a good job to recover. And get a foul away from the ball.
SMU, John, is going to get a good shot versus the zone because they really moved the ball and placed their people in good positions.
King got hit with that foul, a little hold.
And they may be going man now.
Well, to Kennedy and wanted the back door. Gets it. Nick Moore. He'll go to the free throw line.
Great pass.
I didn't even think he could make that pass because I thought there was traffic.
There's very little room. You're going to see it here. It's a great pass. He has to just see. He's going to come in right there. Now that's where defensive man had a great advantage in size. And what he's got to do is position himself and go up. He can't try to reach in. He can't put him on the line. What they did there was just give the Mustangs a chance at 2 points.
Well, we're going to get to watch this little guy, Nick Moore, the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
I like him, Coach. He's
tough. He's smart. He sees.
Certainly fearless.
Well, he's going to learn a lot playing for Larry Brown.
And they've got a terrific point guard coming in next year. Emmanuel Moutier. He'll be more of a scorer, Nick Moore.
Saw him play last night.
Yeah, he was tremendous.
Matthew was right, dumps it off. Andre Hollins.
I like that defense because the shot fake didn't work there.
Offers that one up. No good, and rebounded by Russell.
That's that three again. That doesn't get him anything.
Moore sees an opening. Dumps it down to Kennedy.
He saw that from the top of the key till he delivered the pass all the way down the offside of the lane. What a great sight that was for him. Led to the best pass of the game.
Deja vu, John, with SMU. Here it is, Coach, off the screen. Watch the roll to the basket on the backside. Pretty easy layup.
Three white shirts in the lane. Nobody reacts to the pass.
Nick Moore just lulled everybody to sleep, it seems. And Coach, you say he saw that from the top of the key and set that up.
You know, I've always thought this about basketball, and I said this a lot to players. Know what's going on. See the game. Now, no one saw the game there defensively. You've got to see what's going on, and then you make your move to how you can help defend what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? Know what's happening. You know, some people wonder, well, how did they get a bucket out of that? You know, they wonder rather than know. I like those wonders.
There's that second half we talked about, John. And you remember the other night, if you weren't watching our games the other night, when we talked about a lot of players look, very few see.
Many people look, very few see.
My dear Watson.
Matthew. Ooh, fights his way strong to the hole.
Now that is the best possession offensively that the Gophers have had in quite a while. Not just because they got to the bucket, but because they did something where they drew the foul.
Well, and I love that he took his body right at Nick Russell. He wasn't really in position to stop it.
Even if he didn't score, he was going to get fouled. The first field goal in almost 4.5 minutes.
A big three. They've gotten down 7.
A little bit of pressure again now. Over the top.
Manuel. Look for Kennedy. Turned it over.
That's where he almost needed to pull up midway, and if nobody comes at him, takes a little shot. Somebody comes at him, he drops it off for a dunk. A little bit too aggressive with the ball there.
And maybe even at worst, dribble it out and keep control.
Yeah, and he's still got the ball. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yep.
Matthew, great
nice.
bounce pass down to Austin Hollins. And now the pressure. Trap in the corner. Manuel.
Oh, my.
Offensive foul, and you could see that coming from midcourt.
Just can't do that. Come up, give him a little fake, and make the pass.
I'm surprised, too, because Manuel here, he should have learned from the last play and just kept it simple. This would have called for a jump stop and just a little dump off.
This is a little back and forth here where SMU has not been as solid as they have been up until this point.
Both teams playing with the intensity of a championship game, which is what it is. It doesn't matter to them. It's NIT and not NCAA right now. Walker turns and drops it.
See, I think Walker should have the ball more. I think he's too big for anybody to get around, and I think he should be spread out in there, make the fake, come back with it. I just think he could be used a lot more as a scorer.
I loved his footwork right there.
Oh, his footwork was great. Great fake right, step back left, didn't walk with the ball.
Foul as Nick Moore took it and tried to answer back and drop it down. Let's take a look at that footwork.
Yeah, take a look, Coach. Watch him look.
Right there, gets a good fake back. Now watch his left leg. There it comes. And you just can't get to him. He's too broad-shouldered. When he turns that body, you can't reach it either in front of him or behind him to get to the ball. He's the guy I would like to have taken about 9 or 10 of the last shots inside instead of the threes.
And John always loves when the Canadians get a lot of shots.
You know.
Well, I think you've done a great job. John's jumped up 4 times for one of the Canadians, and you've just grabbed him and sat him back
Exactly.
down. I think you've watched, you know, John is a great friend of ours and one of the great broadcasters of all time, and you've helped him get back down there a couple of times.
Well, if I stand up and start singing "Oh Canada," we got a problem. Andre Hollins drops it in to Walker, and he'll go to the free throw line.
See, now that's 2 possessions, and he's got a chance to come out of it with 4 points.
Yeah, watch him roll hard, and it's a good catch on the move too.
I just think that when it's all said and done tonight, SMU, if SMU were to win, and you would look at it to see what could have been done, the thing you would say is get the ball more to the big guy than they have. Get Walker the ball, let him either get to the line or get to the bucket.
Shoots it just at 68% up there. And comes up empty this time, but just the same.
Well, he had it. You know, he had the chance. He didn't take advantage of it.
Nick Moore. Kennedy forced away from the hoop, fights his way back, and gets fouled on the floor.
He needed to get back quicker than he did. The help didn't get back quite quick enough.
There's good footwork right here. Good pivot.
Real good.
Yep.
Now the women's three-point shooting contest. Odyssey Sims, made 258 their career. State Farm College Slam Dunk and three-point championships are coming up. Odyssey Sims just fell just short.
Yeah, I saw her get 48 points against Kentucky in a 4 overtime game back in December. She's a very talented young lady.
Oh yeah. Back here at Madison Square Garden, we've got a championship game that is going to come down to the wire, folks. And well, it should. Kennedy in the one-on-one.
Short.
Yep.
Is it tied up or is it? Okay, it belongs to SMU. You were here with us Tuesday night. You saw SMU beat Clemson in a game. They had to come back from down 12 at halftime. Minnesota beat Florida State. He went to overtime and almost could have gone to double overtime. Thought the buzzer didn't go. Nick Moore pulls the string back. Kennedy sets the screen. Moore drives in, scoops the shot, doesn't get a call, and it's going the other way.
There was a little too much traffic right there for Nick Moore, I thought. He had to spin that ball up on the glass, came up short.
And that's where he's got to throw it out.
Yep.
You know, when he crossed the foul line, that's when he, or passed the foul line on the outside, he's got to get it to somebody else because he has no way that anything's going to happen good for him.
Matthew, cut off. Andre Hollins.
No.
That's 6 of 21 for Minnesota tonight.
Again, I think you've got to go inside where you have a chance to draw the foul and score some points. You got two chances. The shot that you get plus the free throws that you get.
Bounce pass, Samuel couldn't handle it. King, he's got all kinds of traffic around him. Austin Hollins, three, no good. Rebounded, Andre Hollins.
John, Minnesota is shooting 64% inside the arc tonight. And to Coach Knight's point, you got an opportunity to go inside and get fouled.
For some reason they keep launching the shots from beyond the arc, sometimes beyond the NBA arc.
They're 6 for 24 right now.
Matthew get a chance to shoot some free throws.
Sean Williams picked up his 4th foul. And as you pointed out, he's a senior.
Yep.
He's one foul away from ending his career, I bet.
When you get right down to the last couple minutes where we are, there's a real tendency to you got it tougher, you're quicker, you're working harder, and you can take advantage of that on offense by drawing the foul. You know, and there's a little tension that's in there now, but I'm surprised at Minnesota. They've taken 7 shots here toward the end with no chance of drawing a foul.
The 17th time we've had a lead change, and then Rick Pitino, who's probably just as tight as his son is right now.
And Minnesota, a little token pressure, but they're going to play man-to-man.
Keep looking for that backdoor cut. Nice job to move that ball outside, but stripped away by Austin Hollins. And he goes to the hole and drops it.
Great finish. It started on the defensive end with active hands by Austin Hollins. Take a look now. He's going to get a piece of this pass out. and he's going to do the job of finishing it as well.
That was great body control.
Rick Pitino's loving this.
Peyton Siva next to him with a big smile. Can't convert the three-point play.
Now, the one thing that SMU can't do is be in a hurry. They've got to work to get the shot. Oh, my.
Russell!
They ran a set play that they liked, and they went with an open three. He made it.
Defensive man went to sleep. He got sucked into the ball rather than staying with the man.
Matthew down to King.
Well, this is fun.
King, little ball fake, and then gets fouled on the floor.
Well, this is a set play. Now watch Russell go inside, and then he's going to come back outside of the screen, and that's how he gets open.
You know, that was looking at Minnesota. Now that's the first time they've set up an offense and a movement that got them a free throw, other than when they've gone to the big kid inside, when they've gone to Walker inside.
SMU players all applauding Sean Williams as he comes off the floor. Well, Sean Williams is just fouled out of his final game as a college basketball player. Now, he's not going to leave SMU because he's going to be a grad assistant next year.
He will, yep. He's a fifth-year senior. He started at Texas with Rick Barnes and transferred back home. He's been a great role player, and he's been through the lows and the highs, and he's finishing his career with a real sense of accomplishment.
He was there before Larry Brown came and started to build this program 2 years ago. So, as you said, he's seen it. He's seen the changes at Moody Coliseum, all the money that's been poured into the SMU program that's gotten them to this point. But he's going to have to watch his teammates to see if they can battle this one out
Now,
in the final minute.
If you were to play a little bit with Walker and King inside, King is going to make 90% of his free throws. That's going to be see what they do here now with that little lead they've got.
I'd get this ball back to Nick Moore.
Moore with it now, drives the baseline and gets fouled.
I like that. I like that he's going to drive it.
It was a great move to drive. But that being said, the defender has got to have his foot on the baseline. He's there on the baseline. It channels the ball into help.
Oh, that's Moore's vision, Coach, right? He knows that Matthew can't get there, so he just takes off.
Well, and on that situation, Walker, well, the foul was committed before Walker had a chance to get involved in it. But the stoppage had to be defense on the ball, foot out of bounds. He can't get to the baseline.
This is the final 1-and-1. Next foul will be in the double bonus, but he ties the game at 59 apiece.
I wonder if Minnesota will try to get 2 shots for 1 here, like they do in the NBA.
Matthew almost got bumped out of bounds. Austin Hollins wide open three is good.
Great penetration. Great recognition by the offense.
And doing it quick enough, as you said.
I think they wanted to get the shot up before 35 so they could get 2 possessions. And not only that, the bonus was they got a great look.
Well, this is a pretty good shot that they took here. They had room. They've taken some shots where they just didn't have any room to get set. Too quick. But he's set there really good. He's able to go up straight. He's able to get good follow through with it. He doesn't have to lean back.
There's his dad, Lionel Hollins, former NBA.
And Austin,
Portland Trailblazers.
We had a good talk with him outside the Garden the other night, John.
Yeah, we did.
He told us that he thought that Austin might have to redshirt his freshman year, and he didn't know how much he would play.
He said, hey, I don't know what's a good college play. I wasn't sure my son was any good.
You know, what I'd like to do, if I were SMU now, is I'd want to bring my offense up higher so we've got the baseline to drive and get to the free throw line.
Don't forget to stay with us. ESPN3 will have exclusive live coverage of the NIT Championship trophy presentation. But right now,
you think you need a 3 here?
We'll just score quickly. Nick Moore goes in. He'll go to the free throw line.
Now, see, Walker has to move. You know, there's no way that he's going to get the shot if Walker moves. If we show a little replay of that, we'll just see Walker maintain position. That was a bad play on his part. With his reach and everything, letting the little guy with the ball get past him.
Nick Moore doesn't miss often, 84% free throw shooter.
But I'll tell you, Moore was tough going. He didn't shy away. He went right at him, and he beat Walker on that play. That's why he's at the line.
Well, when he makes this, SMU will probably set up a press to try to trap it. Then they'll have to foul relatively early.
Almost missed both of them. And a timeout called by Larry Brown. Well, as you know, the State Farm three-point shooting and slam dunk contest is coming up next. This is Moody Coliseum, where you are watching right now. The crowd of SMU fans who've gone there to see the slam dunk and three-point shooting contest are cheering for their Mustangs from Dallas.
You know, we saw the excitement and enthusiasm at Moody Coliseum. SMU, the #1 seed, got 3 home games, and 3 wins got them to New York City.
You guys are going to set up a trap, and how quickly do you give up on that in 5?
I would try to stretch the game out, Coach, and I'd try to steal it right away if I could, get a good trap and then foul. But Minnesota's a pretty good free throw shooting team.
Well, and you've got 30 seconds, and they can't burn too many of them. They can't let too many of them go here. They've got to get some good screens here. I think they're going to run a little back pick here and come off toward the left. What do you think? Right there.
It is.
Almost a turnover and a trap in the corner. And a timeout called from the bench. Richard Pitino saw his man in trouble, and but now he's looking at his players like that's not what we're supposed to run.
And you know, I don't like when the coach is on the other side of the court and can call time.
I agree.
I like the FIBA rule, Coach. When the ball's in play, it's live, and that's great defense in the far corner. And who knows if it's a guy in the stands yelling timeout.
You know, when you mentioned FIBA, my hair goes up because I think back to the Olympics they stole from us.
Oh yeah.
With the guy come to Englishman. Have you ever heard of anybody from England knowing the first thing about basketball?
1972.
Guy comes down out of the stand, gives the ball to the Russians for one more try, and it was ridiculous that was acceptable by the national or the worldwide committee on basketball.
What do we got here, John?
FIBA, under different circumstances, my friend Fran, I'd kind of tell you what you could do with FIBA.
Well, we won't tell folks because
we got 34 seconds to go.
One of the things I liked in this situation was to come across and screen and then step away from the screen.
Now they're out of timeouts too, so they got to execute with good screening right here.
If they get trapped this time, they're in big trouble.
Walker's their worst shooter out there at 68%.
You got Moore on the ball, so they put a big guy on the ball into the hands of Andre Hollins.
It's almost like they didn't
trouble, and you got to get it across. They get it across with 1 second left.
Well, I'm not sure what they're thinking. They've got a foul.
Well, there's 2 seconds left. There's 2 seconds difference, so I don't know.
You know what, John?
They decided to let it go down, but I can't believe that.
I think Larry Brown wanted him to foul. I think they were trying to find the right guy to foul, but at some point, see, it's not the NBA. You can't take it out all the way down the court on the timeout. but I don't think they wanted a foul.
So you're thinking you wanted a foul earlier?
Yes,
much earlier.
I think so.
I can't imagine why he wouldn't want one earlier than that.
Well, this guy's an over 80% shooter, which is the one guy they didn't want to foul.
Well, if you can make it a
they're going to have to shoot a three for sure. And the worst thing that could happen to Minnesota is to foul somebody shooting a three. Then once that shot is taken, whatever SMU does, they have got to get it. They can't mess around and walk. They got to get it inbounds immediately to draw the next foul.
Remember, John, we've seen them run good stuff at the end of games, SMU. That Kansas play that got more the open three.
The miss.
It may be coming here.
Remember in the semifinals, they chose not to foul and allowed a three-pointer to tie the game. Right now, though, Nick Moore just goes in for the deuce.
I'll tell you what happened. Marcus Kennedy did not set a great screen for Nick Russell coming off. And he's also letting the freshman know. They had a set play where they were going to try to re-screen the shooter. And when he didn't come off cleanly, then the little guy had to just go to the basket.
Well, see, there was no help right there. We just talked about that secondary help. If they'd have gotten help right there, the game would have been over.
Time now for tonight's five-star player of the game, Austin Hollins.
Well, it's great. His senior year, he's in Madison Square Garden. And this is the culmination of what's been a really good Golden Gopher career for Austin Hollins, an outstanding student as well. Finishing up right here in the world's greatest arena. Got a chance to win an NIT championship for his team.
Five-star player of the game brought to you by Wrangler.
They don't have to get it across the line. He can move with the ball. Let's just see here. This is going to be interesting.
Number one.
A lot of room over here.
Hollins looking for someone, gets it into Andre Hollins, and they foul him quickly. That's who Minnesota wants with the ball.
Now, you know what's good in SMU's case right now is even if Dre Hollins, right? And I had a rule, coach, with my team that if we looked up at the clock and we saw it was about 5 seconds or so, we'd go 1 dribble per second. We didn't have to shoot a half-court shot. We could push it up the floor.
Well, the question is, remember the other night, Minnesota in this situation,
they didn't foul.
They did not foul.
If he just makes one, he's giving them a chance to win.
Now, I talked to the Minnesota coaches today, and they are discussing fouling or not right now. I'm telling you. Half the staff wanted to foul, half the staff wanted to play it out.
And Florida State was able to hit a shot.
If he makes this one, I'd want to foul.
Yep. So did his father, by the way, Rick Pitino, today.
Because then, you know, what you have left is the long pass and the game's over with. And I would want to take a timeout if I was Minnesota to make sure that everybody was on.
They don't have it. They don't have any. No.
Okay, Larry Brown is going to take one.
This is SMU beating Clemson. That's how they managed to get here to the championship game. And Minnesota played Florida State in the final seconds in a 3-point game. They allowed Florida State to come down, chose not to foul them. Florida State hit the 3-point shot to send it to overtime. At the end of overtime, identical situation. They allowed Florida State to shoot again. This time they missed, or we were going to double overtime.
Coach, I can't wait to see what Richard Pitino does, because he told me today he was very comfortable with not fouling. And his father, we were in this discussion, he said, well, we're going to foul. Now, the assistant coaches were telling him, Coach, we should foul. So right now, we've got a little mystery here. We're going to find out about the young coach
Well, you want to pick them up full court and run the clock off, and then foul down in here somewhere, and then the game's over.
Yep. Rick is telling him foul. Look, he did it today. He said to me during the walkthrough, he said, "Man, they're not working on any defense."
I've told you, I lost 2 huge games for our team in different circumstances because I didn't call the foul. The one time I did use the foul, we won.
I think they're going to foul. I think the young coaches.
Well, they got to make it tough for him to inbound the ball. Get him up. Watch the long pass coming to the middle guy.
Daquan McNeil is in the game, a freshman, very good defender from Baltimore.
Cunningham gets it in to Russell, and there's the foul.
3.5 seconds. That's good.
Now, I think they have no timeouts left. I hope they've practiced a missed free throw play.
What they don't have any timeouts left. What they do is have a couple of players who are a little banged up.
Well, they're gonna they're gonna put their biggest guys in. Morea, looks like Kennedy's gonna stay out there. Cunningham. So they're gonna put their offensive linemen in.
So make the first and miss the second.
Yep.
Sometimes missing a free throw is difficult. You see guys try.
Well, it's got to hit the rim.
It's got to make this one first.
Yeah.
So now you got to miss and hope you can make a three-pointer.
Exactly.
You don't want to foul again, but it wouldn't hurt to foul inside. They make 2, the game's still over with. You want to make sure that you don't give them the shot. If you have to foul.
He's missing.
That's not.
He made it.
Good.
Ah,
They
boy.
got it in.
And just lob it down the court. Minnesota, champions of the
Good
NIT.
play right there.
A tremendous championship game. The Minnesota Golden Gophers. 65-63 is the final. Coming up next, the 2014 State Farm Colored Slam Dunk and Three-Point Championships. For Bob Knight and Franz Ruschilla, I'm John Saunders. So long from New York.
Don't kid with COVID. M Health Fairview wants you to know that what you do today will affect your family and our community tomorrow. Did you know that unchecked, COVID-19 can have a multiplier effect? On average, someone who has the virus is likely to spread it to 2 more people. In no time, those 3 become 15. 15 could jump to over 60 and so on. Wash your hands, avoid big groups, stay home, don't go out. We've all got to do our part. you.